When is the right time to marry? This is one of the key decisions that you are going to be making as an individual if you want to become successful. The reason is that apart from the decision of accepting Christ as your Lord and personal Savior, that is being born again, making a decision to become successful so that you can take your life to the next level and build upon whatever it is that you were handed by your parents, the next key decision that I believe you make is about who you marry. But when it comes to the decision about who do you marry, one of the key questions that people ask is, when is the right time to marry? Now, many a time when people ask that question, when is the right time to marry, they are looking at their age. They are considering the fact that I'm 25, I am 30, I am 40, I am 38. When is the right time to marry? They are looking at the timing. But it is important to understand that marriage is not just about I am getting older, so let me go marry. It is about becoming somebody who is matured financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and psychologically to be able to get into that. However, there are a lot of schools of thought that propagate certain agendas that makes people make the decision to marry, which later on lead them into becoming frustrated and not living the life that they have always wanted to live. On the podcast today, I want to share with you 5 of these school of thoughts and how you can navigate yourself through these 5 schools of thoughts to help you so you can make a better decision in choosing a life partner, and most importantly, deciding who to settle down with. Because remember, decision about marriage is not just about emotions. It is not just about love. It is not just about how curvy, how physically built, or how handsome or beautiful someone is. Decision about your marriage partner is going to either make you or break you. Decision about your partner is going to be the next generation of you, your offspring. If you're going to have children, what kind of life are they going to have? What will be their genetic makeup? What value is this person going to impact into them? So really, the decision about marriage is not just about how you feel. It's not about how the person appears, but a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration. And my goal in this podcast is to be able to help you to make these decisions and look for these things so that you can make the best decision that will ultimately help you as an individual. The first school of thoughts on when to marry is marry young. This is one of the reasons propagated by even pastors and well-respected public figures saying that marry young. And their justification for this is that when you marry young, it helps you to focus. You are not distracted, and you wouldn't go out fornicating and committing a lot of sins so that you can live for God. In as much as there could be an iota of truth in that, in my opinion, I think that is not right. As an individual, if you cannot control yourself, if you cannot have self-control to say, I will do this, I will not do this, I will go here, I will not go here, I will have this, I will not have that, then you are not ready to marry. Marriage is not a certificate for you to stop being distracted. This is what you have to understand. And ask any married couple, they will tell you that marriage doesn't end your feelings. Marriage doesn't end the possibility that you won't see other people. You will see people who are more beautiful than your spouse, who are more handsome than your spouse. You will see people who are more wealthy, better built, who may have everything that you think you are looking for in a partner when you marry. So if we are not able to deal with your self-control, your self-discipline, and your ability to be okay with what you have and work on it to make sure that it becomes what you are looking for, then the marriage will not stand. So marry young so that you will be not distracted. Marry young so that, you will not fornicate. Marry young so that you can, focus on your life. That should not be a reason for marrying. No. If you want to marry so that you don't fornicate again, may I suggest to you, 99.9% of marriages are going through problems because of adultery. That is what you need to understand. So that is one thing that you don't want to go with. Marry young. No. It's not about being young. It is about developing yourself. It is about having the self-control, the self-discipline to say yes, to say no, to say I'm going to do this, to say I'm not going to do this. That is the first school of thought. It is not right. We must debunk it. Number 2, marry young and give birth early so your children can grow with you. This is another reason why people want to marry. Marry young and give birth so that your children can grow with you. Listen, nobody cares whether your children grow with you or they don't grow with you. Nobody cares. Marrying and giving birth is not about them growing with you. That is not it. The only reason that you marry, you give birth is because you have the capacity, the ability to be able to provide nothing but the best to your children, so that they will not live the life that you lived, so that they will enjoy what you did not enjoy, so that you provide them with a future and secure even your grandchildren. So that myth, that agenda of, marry young, give birth early so that your children will grow with you, who cares about that? And the justification also is that if you delay and then you give birth later in your life, you will go on pension and you'll be taking pension money to take care of your child. No. You have to plan your life before you get into marriage. Listen to me. Childbirth and taking care of your children is expensive. It will cost you money, and you don't want to have frustrated house. You don't want to have frustrated children. You don't have to have frustrated life, because some people's life have been put on a hold because they made a decision to marry, or because they impregnated somebody and so they have to marry the person, and now all the money they get, they have to use it for child support, take the child to school, pay for school fees. Yes, all that is good, but listen, that cannot be the reason why you marry. That I want my children to grow with me. No. The question you need to ask yourself is, if I should give birth, do I have the financial capacity to be able to take care of this child? Do I have the financial strength to be able to take care of this child? Do I have a plan available to ensure that this child grows up in an environment that is conducive, in an environment that is worthy, in an environment that is supportive, and in an environment that will help to bring the best from this child? So we cannot make the marriage decision about marrying young so that your child will grow up with you. No. You must be matured financially. You must be matured emotionally. You must be matured physically. You must be matured spiritually. It is not about your children growing with you. It is about you having the capacity to provide them with the best of the best. Now, so does it mean everything must be perfect before you go? No. But I'm going to get into that in a sec. Number 3, marry and have faith in God. Everything will be fine. This is another school of thought for people to justify when they are ready to marry. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm a Christian, God will provide everything. Listen to me. Yes, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I have faith. But you got to understand that you have to apply wisdom when making marriage decisions. Listen carefully. Yes, there is God. Yes, you have faith. Yes, you can pray for miracles. Yes, God's presence, God's hands can be visible in your life and in the works of your life. But you gotta be careful, because if you don't apply wisdom, then you cannot see the hand of God in your life. So don't be oblivious and walk into anything thinking that when you make that decision, God will make a way for you. He will. I'm not saying he will not, but you have to apply wisdom. This was what Jesus Christ had to say about making every life critical decision in the book of Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. Now, it's a very popular scripture, and so I'm going to read it to you, and then we find out what is Jesus's exposition on making crucial or critical decisions that are going to be changing the trajectory of our life. So Luke 14:28-30. And this is the NIV version. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, this person began to build and wasn't able to finish. Now, this scripture, it's not about marriage, but the principle here is that if you want to do something, you must count the cost. It's not just about laying the foundation, thinking that God will provide the needed resources to finish it up. That is why people even don't have money to marry, but they go and borrow money and have extravagant, lavish wedding ceremony. But after that extravagant wedding ceremony, which is the foundation, now they don't have the money to run the home. And the reason they do that is because, yes, they are getting old. The reason they do that because they want to be accepted in the society. The reason they do that is because they thought that, when they marry, people will come and give them gifts, people will come and give them money, and so they will be able to live their lives. But you cannot do that. People borrow money, spend on the marriage ceremony, but after that, they would have to pay for the loan. And some people take 5 years to repay loans for ceremony that they had for 3 hours. And that loan becomes a headache that hangs on them. It becomes a curse that hangs on them. It doesn't bring them the joy. It doesn't bring them the happiness. It ruins everything. Any little money they get, they have to repay that loan. Now they cannot provide better life for their children. They cannot provide better environment, community, or household for their children, and it ruins everything, all because they lay the foundation thinking that God will provide, people will help them, and then they were not able to finish it. So in the words of Jesus, you have to count the cost. It is not about, yes, you have 200,000 Ghana cedi in your account, and so because of that, you can take 100,000 and do your wedding, and after that, by the grace of God, everything is going to be fine. You must have a plan. When you marry, where are you going to live? When you marry, how is your life going to be? When you marry, how is your partner going to be? How is your wife going to live? How is your husband going to live? How much money is going to come into the house? How are we going to handle the money? How are we going to pay our bills? Where are we going to live? When are we going to buy a house? You have to count the cost. It's important. You cannot make this life-changing decision by just saying that God will provide. You must sit down and count the cost. Because if you don't, people will laugh at you. Listen carefully. When is it the right time to marry? It is the right time to marry if you have sat down to count the cost. If you sit down and count the cost and you really find out that, yes, I can lay the foundation and I can build this tower and have a good life because you have a plan, and the grace of God will provide you with the wisdom to be able to complete it, then you go for it. So number one, marry young. It's not a good reason to marry. That is not the best time to marry. Number two, marry young, give birth so that your children can grow with you. It's not a right decision to make. Number three, marry because God will provide everything to you. No, you must sit down, count the cost, and apply wisdom, because that is how you become successful in your marriage. Number four, if you find someone you love, marry the person. You see, I don't know, but I think out of the school of thoughts, this one is one of the dumbest reasons why you can marry. Marry because you've seen someone you love. Are you serious right now? You think the success of marriage is about emotions? Are you okay? Oh, when you see the person and butterflies is coming through your stomach, I don't even know what the heck that is. Oh, when you see the person and you can't sleep, when you see the person, are you serious right now? Do you know the lifespan of a butterfly? The lifespan of a butterfly is 14 days. At most, some hybrid, we're going to have 21 days. What does that mean? It means that emotions, that butterflies, that bubbling foolishness that is going on in you, it's going to go off when you marry. It will go off because when reality hits you, the feelings will vanish. So when do you have to marry? Yes, I found this person. When I'm talking to her, I feel like dying. Well, I can't even live a day without talking to her. I can't even live a day. I'm not saying it's wrong. But if that is the pillar on which you are building a marriage, may I suggest to you, you will fail. Because you see, reality brings out things. And again, this is one of the key reasons why people cheat in marriage, why people commit adultery in marriage. So don't just marry because you have found somebody that you are in love with. You have found somebody that you cannot live without. You have found somebody that, you can't sleep without talking to them. Because when reality hits you, that feelings will vanish in a twinkle of an eye. And when it vanishes, you will know that you were foolish. But this is what you need to understand. Love plays a role, but it's not the only thing that you have to take into consideration. Per data and statistics, marriage consultants and experts have suggested that love, the emotions, feelings, and all that is just about 3% of the whole equation of marriage. Because a successful marriage depends on a number of factors. In other words, in selecting the right partner, there are a number of things that you have to look for beyond the emotions, beyond the love, beyond the feelings. What are some of these things? Number one, the temperament of the person. That is a person's nature and how it affects their behavior. So when someone is angry or sad, what do? That is their temperament. You must know about it. So you cannot just follow the emotions that, oh, I love her so much. And when she's angry, she destroys everything. When she's angry, she talks anyhow. When she is angry, she just behaves anyhow. And you wonder if she is a human being. That is her temperament. Can you handle it? You must know the person's temperament. So beyond the emotional foolishness, the temperament of the person must be known. Number two, the belief system of the person. This is about the mindset of the person. What is the mindset of the person on the aspects of life? Because it's not just about the emotions, it's about the belief system of the person. Listen to me. You are going to spend your life, the rest of your life, with this person. Your children are going to inherit the belief system, the norms of this person. So it is important you know the belief system, the mindset of this person on religion, the mindset of this person on spirituality, the mindset of this person on various aspects of life. You must understand and know about the belief system of the person and find out whether their belief system, their mindset aligns with your belief system or your mindset. Number three, financial intelligence. Listen, one of the key reasons of divorce is finance. As a matter of fact, data has suggested that about 99.9% of marriages that end up in divorce, it's because of financial stress. So it is important that beyond, again, the emotional dumbness, you find out what is this person's knowledge about money, how to make it, how to keep it, how to multiply it, how to manage the resources. Because there are some people, immediately the money comes, they want to buy the latest something. There are some people, they want to keep up with their friends. So even if the money is not available, they're going to pressure you to give them the money so they can buy the thing, so they can look good, so their friends can clap for them. You don't want to marry such a person because your house is going to be ruined. You don't want to marry such a person because there's going to be unnecessary pressure on the family. You don't want to marry such a person because it means that your children's future, it's likely to be sabotaged to satisfy their egotistic behavior. And this is also linked to their personality, to their mindset. So what is their knowledge when it comes to money? Number four, future aspirations. Where do they want to be in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? It is important you know that. So beyond the emotional foolishness, beyond the butterflies flying in your stomach, beyond whatever it is that is going on in your heart, you must find out what are their goals? What are their aspirations? And do these align with yours on where you are going? Because one thing you need to understand is this. Many a times, women marry and that is the end of their life. The reason is that especially in this part of the world and some other cultures, the woman should be seen as the one who should take care of the house. And so there is a cap on how high the woman can rise. And this has been over generations. So when a woman tries to, advance herself, attend school, become a key player, the man becomes scared because they are afraid, they are insecure. They don't want the woman to have that power. So many people marry and that's the end of their life. All their career aspiration, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to build this, I want to build that, will all end. Why? Because they will just have to do some small below rated jobs and come home early, come and cook and take care of their children. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that is the mindset of some people. That is the mindset of some guys. But if you're a woman that you think that you've been called to do something big, then it is important that you find out about who you're going to marry, the man that you're going to marry, whose goals align with your goal and who will be willing to support your goal so that you can become all there is to be. So future aspirations, we must know about it. And the last thing is wisdom. You see, you must be able to measure the level of wisdom that people have before you get excited to marry them. Because you see, wisdom influences the quality of decisions that people make. When I'm talking about wisdom, I'm talking about education, I'm talking about exposure. Now, when I'm talking about education here, I'm not talking about degrees, okay? But I'm talking about people's wisdom, knowledge on various issues. You see, beyond the emotional thing that you're going to be feeling, it is important you analyze the level of wisdom of the person. And so that is what you need to understand. It's not just about, I love the person. You must know their temperament. You must know their belief system. You must assess their level of financial intelligence. You must know their future aspiration. And most importantly, you must be able to assess their wisdom. That is based on their education, is based on their exposure, and how that influences the quality of the decisions that they make, because that is really going to stress you later on if you don't handle it now. Then the fifth school of thought, which is a reason why people marry and answer the question, when is the right time to marry, is, I am pregnant, so you have to marry me. Again, this is part of the dumbest reasons. The fact that someone is pregnant doesn't mean you should marry them. Listen carefully. The fact that you impregnated somebody doesn't mean you should marry them. The fact that someone impregnated you doesn't mean you should marry them. Don't marry because you are pregnant. Don't marry because you impregnated somebody. Listen carefully. Yes, assume responsibility, take care of the child. That you cannot run away from it. But don't think because you have impregnated a person or you are pregnant, the person is under obligation to marry you. No. You cannot make marriage decisions on that. Because you were not supposed to do that. You were not supposed to get pregnant. There were contraceptives you were supposed to have used. Okay, you were supposed to stay away. You were supposed to abstain. But you did it. And you did it and you had no wisdom to use contraceptives. You have no wisdom to practice coitus interruptus. Then pregnancy comes and you're like, oh, you have to marry me. And one of the dumbest things you see is in our family, we don't do that. So now the family people are suggesting to you that you should come and marry the lady. But you're not ready. You are not ready. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, economically, you are not ready to have somebody as your wife. But here you are, the lady says, you say you love me, now I am pregnant, come and marry me. Yes, you may be loved, but he's not ready to be a husband. So you got to be careful about this. Like I said, assume responsibility. Do what you have to do and provide the best for that child. But let not that be a criteria for you. Let not that be the criterion you're going to use to marry. Let not that be a reason. Okay, Nhyira, if you love the person, then why can't you marry the person now that the person is pregnant? No. There is a difference between being in a relationship and marrying. There are two different things. It's two different things. Having someone as your boyfriend or your girlfriend is different thing when you're married. It's a different ballgame altogether. That is why you need to understand the stages of relationship. Because we have the dating stage where we get to know each other. We have the courtship stage where we get deeper. Family people are going to come in. Then we come to the marriage stage. It's important. The responsibilities are not the same. So don't make marriage decisions because you are pregnant. Use wisdom. Because if you make the decision to marry the person because you are pregnant for the person, you to marry the person because you impregnated the person, later on, it may not turn out well because probably that is not the personality you want. Probably it wasn't something that really you wanted. Maybe it was just a mistake. Maybe, quote unquote, a one-night stand. Maybe it was just something you were having and boom, it turned out into something else. Assume responsibility for the child. Take care of that child, but do not tie your life down to the person just because you impregnated the person. In my opinion, these are the 5 issues that guides people when it comes to making the decision. And they are the schools of thought in our society that marry young, give birth early. God will provide everything for you. When you love somebody, marry them. Once you have impregnated a person, marry the person. Don't let these guide you. Only marry when you are ready and you are matured financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and psychologically. That is only when you can marry. And back to the words of Jesus Christ in the book of Luke, chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. Which of you, when seeking to build a tower, does not first sit down to count the cost, to determine whether they have money to finish it? If not, they lay the foundation and are unable to finish it, and people laugh at them. You will have your life frustrated or joyful if you don't make this decision taking into consideration the right factors. So be mindful of this. When do you marry? It will vary for everybody. Don't just use these reasons. Sit down, think about it, count the cost, and plan strategically. If you do that, you will have a successful marriage and definitely enjoy your life after marriage and not have financial stress being put on you by people. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think are some of the things that we should talk about on the podcast? But most importantly, also share with me, when do you think is the right time to marry? I'll see you in the next one.